When it comes to the difference between infrared light and red light, I think there's a lot of confusion and a lot of people couple those things together. In today's video, we're going to talk about what the differences are between infrared light, typically used in an infrared sauna, and red light therapy. And instead of asking the question of which one is better, we're going to ask the question of what's going on physiologically in your body, and is your body able to adapt better to infrared light therapy or to red light therapy based on where you're at. And we'll talk about kind of how you can understand which one of those may benefit you best based on where you're at and how that actually happens from a physiological level. Now, the biggest thing that I hope you take away from today's video is understanding the signaling pathways that are happening within the body with red light and infrared light. And once you understand that, it becomes very simple to understand which one of those tools you need to be able to integrate into your own routine. All right, so let's jump in. We'll start with infrared sauna. Just kind of a blanket overview of what infrared light and infrared saunas do is they're creating a thermogenic or a heat-related stress within the body. Now, I did another video on infrared saunas versus Finnish saunas and kind of the differences between the two. In general, saunas have very robust cardiovascular effects. Infrared saunas, not quite as robust as Finnish saunas, but we're not here to debate that. There's a lot of metabolic changes that happen within the body. One of the biggest ones is that increase in heat, it increases cardiometabolic function, it increases heat shock proteins, and it creates some signaling pathways within the mitochondria. The biggest thing to understand when it comes to infrared saunas is that all of the beneficial effects that we're expecting to see with an infrared sauna come because your body is adapting and responding both in an acute way and in a long-term way to the stress that's on the body. The changes are coming as a result of a stress response. And that's really the biggest difference between infrared sauna versus what we'll talk about with red light is infrared sauna creates adaptive changes because of a stress response. Red light creates changes because of a signaling pathway that's uncoupled from a stress response. This is really important if we're looking at the body from a standpoint of how well can our body adapt and respond to stress. And this is really what I want to hit home today is what is your recovery capacity? What is your stress response ability look like? And then how do these tools kind of fit in there? So again, with infrared sauna, we're creating heat shock proteins. We're creating a thermic effect or a thermic stress on the body, and your body has to adapt and respond. So when we look specifically at mitochondrial function, because mitochondria are driving your body's energy production pathways. Healing, repairing, recovering, it all requires energy. And so one of the biggest things is we have this AMP, ATP kind of balance within the body. ATP is the body's energy production molecule. AMP is the recycling molecule. So basically what happens, we create ATP in the mitochondria. ATP goes wherever it needs to go. We uncouple a phosphate group from that. That releases energy and it converts it back into AMP. And so what will happen is we get these ATP reserves, basically, which is energy reserves within the mitochondria. We can use those for whatever they need to be used for. Once we start using that energy, we get a buildup in AMP. And as long as your mitochondria function well and your electron transport chain is functioning really well, we can continually recirculate this AMP to create more ATP. And we have a higher level of ATP to AMP. What happens is over time, as we continue to push those mitochondria, as we continue to produce more energy within the cell and within the body, we start to get this imbalance of ATP and AMP. And what will happen is over time, as you age, AMP starts to really outweigh our ATP. And this shuts down some of the physiological responses within the body, and it puts our body into more of a conserve and protect state than a grow, heal, repair state. And this is where infrared sauna becomes very important because the changes that we're trying to drive through sauna, through heat shock proteins, through all of this stuff, it's asking the body for more ATP or more energy. And if the body can't produce that much energy, we're not going to get the physiological response we're expecting, and we're not going to be able to regenerate AMP into ATP. We're going to get a higher buildup of AMP, which is going to further shut down all of our anabolic responses, our mTOR pathways, all of the signaling that helps our body grow, heal, repair. So if you're somebody who has a balance in this AMP ATP pathway, everything's fine. We have a higher need for ATP because of what the infrared sauna is driving. We recirculate that, everything's great. What happens is as we age, increase in reactive oxygen species, things like nitrous oxide come in and bind cytochrome C oxidase, which is the rate limiting step in the electron transport chain. Not crazy important for this video, but it slows down that regeneration of ATP process. And the body is asking for more ATP to drive a change because of what the sauna is doing. And we just can't keep up with that need. We get higher AMP and we end up taking ourselves backwards, and recovery slows down. We feel more fatigued, we feel drained, and we're not going to get the benefits that we're looking for. This is where red light is super, super cool, because red light impacts those specific signaling pathways I just talked about within the mitochondria outside of a stress response. So while infrared sauna is increasing the body's demand for ATP, what red light therapy is doing is it's actually photobiomodulating the electron transport chain, the cytochrome C oxidase, all those pathways, and it's increasing the body's ability to regenerate ATP from AMP. So whereas this AMP ATP balance, infrared sauna is going to change it higher AMP, lower ATP. The red light therapy is going to increase the ability to restore ATP production. Specifically what's happening at the mitochondrial level, which research has shown this over and over again, is we get a photobiomodulatory effect on nitrous oxide binding to CCO, which is that cytochrome C oxidase, which then releases the nitrous oxide from it, allows oxygen to come in. That's the rate limiting step that allows us to couple energy into an ATP molecule and then go use that for everything else. What's really important to understand, though, is that using red light therapy is not going to increase the production or the drive to create more ATP. It's just going to unlock your body's ability to do what it was already trying to do, which is amazing. If we're trying to support the body's ability to function normally, we've got to make sure these pathways all work properly. And again, we don't need to get crazy into the biochemistry and all this stuff. The biggest takeaways here is just understanding the difference in the impact of things like infrared sauna versus red light therapy on mitochondrial function, on your body's adaptive processes, on your ability to create energy, restore normal function, healing, repair, anabolism, muscle growth, mTOR pathways, all of that stuff. So if you're a person who's young, who's got good AMP ATP balance, your mitochondria are functioning properly, there's not a huge buildup of reactive oxygen species, you're going to be somebody who can go into an infrared sauna or a Finnish sauna. You can get that big drive for an increase in ATP production, and your body can deal with that appropriately, and you get this really amazing, profound benefit from it. If you're somebody whose mitochondria aren't functioning properly, you go into an infrared sauna, you get this big drive for ATP, you can't keep up with that need for production, you don't get the beneficial changes, and you actually feel worse or more drained or more fatigued afterwards. You're somebody who's going to benefit more from red light therapy. And this video is not about protocols for infrared sauna. It's not about protocols for red light therapy. It's about understanding how they both impact our body's physiology so that we can make the best decisions for implementation and using the right one at the right time. And my personal philosophy is the body was designed to heal. If we know there's a mitochondrial dysfunction, maybe we use red light therapy for a little bit to help restore the mitochondria to get us back to a place that now we can take that infrared sauna or that Finnish saunas drive for adaptation and actually be able to incorporate that and use that for physiological benefit. So it's not saying your body's stuck and we're going to stay stuck forever. It's saying your body is aging. The process is happening naturally. How can we work to offset that process as much as possible? What tools can we use to unlock your body's physiology? And then what tools can we use to help push and drive to get the adaptations that we're looking for? So again, the biggest thing, it's all about the signal. What signal is the body receiving? How is it incorporating that signal? And what changes are coming from that signal? So I hope this was helpful. In this video, my whole goal of this channel is to help you understand your body's physiology, what we're doing that impacts that physiology, and then how the body can take that stress response or that input and create a beneficial change from it. The channel's not about driving protocols home and all this stuff. It's more about understanding which tools are right for you at which points in time and why they're right for you, basically. So if you want to continue learning more about that, we're going to dive into a lot more tools, comparing and contrasting different things and their impact on the body. So like subscribe to the channel, drop comments below. Let me know what you guys want to learn more about, what type of tools you may be using, and your personal experience with using these tools, because I always want to hear kind of where you're at, what you've been going through, and we can always talk about specific things to do to incorporate to help get the most out of your routine. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. Take care, and we'll see you on the next one.